Oh, it's cool. It looks really neat. Okay, so let me start with our preamble. Hello, everyone. This is an official meeting of the mentoring working group, a part of the TAG contributor strategy. And so as a official meeting of the CNCF, we follow the CNCF code of conduct, which can be paraphrased to please be kind to each other. Since we have a new face, welcome. Would we all like to do a quick round of introductions just to say hello and say who we are? I'm happy to start. Hello, I'm Nate. I'm a developer advocate here at the CNCF, and I'm the co-chair, along with Jay Tahima, who's not here today, of this of the mentoring working group. And I also spend quite a bit of time helping projects organize and write their documentation. Justin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Justin Weiss. I'm a cloud platform architect with EBSCO, part of a recently formed subdomain of observability, with a strategy to move to open telemetry collection from a whole variety of tools. Yeah, so I just wanted to get involved and noticed there were lots of user groups and, reaching out to the community and joining, learning where I can. I'm based out of a little northeast of Birmingham, Alabama. So getting good weather around here.
Cool. Rian, would you like to introduce yourself?
I can go next. I'm in South Africa. I'm Rian. I'm working with with Hippie, which is in New Zealand. And we work on Kate's infra, Kate's conformance, and then we also help out in the community with mentoring and tag contributor strategy and things like that. So helping where we can. And Hippie.
I'm Hippie Hacker, and I've been at the CNCF for a long while in the strategic initiator group. So they have some when they have I think another name might be Skunkworks, but we don't use the term publicly. We just say strategic initiatives. And so in the interest of focused on what's here is I've been doing computer stuff for a while. Started an ISP back in '94, and I'm trying to start an IISP movement where local people run their things locally and don't necessarily shop from just store A or store G, but maybe a local store. But that's going to require a lot of cooperation. And so mentorship is cooperation. So I'm trying to make it where we don't do single player so much in our culture of open source. Did you read the manual yet? Did you go through the steps? Because actually talking to someone in their very first day and getting involved with any project in open source would be lovely to have someone to hold their hand for those first 10 to 20 minutes. And the software that we've been working on is meant to help create a culture where they knew that the first moment they got open source, somebody held their hand for 20 minutes. How do we get that as a cultural norm in our CNCF projects and beyond?
Thank you for that, Hippie. I've just in the chat here dropped our meeting agenda for the day. And I completely agree with how did you phrase it? Mentoring as community? Is that how you?
There's all sorts of ways to say it. We all know what we're talking about, but it's the culture of someone just came. So to put it into like a concrete perspective, I spent a year with my family traveling around the U.S. to every makerspace that I could, and I hit around 40 to 50. And what I was interested in is the culture of the successful communities surrounding a physical space. And what I noted was actually the first place that it was up in Seattle, and it was at a place called Control H, which is also it's the Portland hackerspace. And it was started by a fella who created some of the first Bitcoin ATMs. And so he had some capital handy and he bought a building. And he said to people, and if we can keep the taxes paid, then this space can be available. And so all of the hacker and makerspace community stuff of failed attempts over the years ended up physically being in that space. And him and his partner are always there. That cultural thing of holding a space and having someone who is there, not in the interest of asking you to donate, not in the interest of like, they're really just there. I'm so glad you're here. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
You would love this. They let me in that level of excitement. So he goes to go take you immediately over here and show you this. Like, I'm so glad we go. And then, so they're relationeers, and we need from the first moment someone's interested in something that we're doing, we need to be much more relational and cooperative, rather than, have you gone through where it's like the bar is way up here and we say, just go grab that first bar, you're going to be fine. And then I'll talk to you.
There's, I like that in physical spaces. And this is actually maybe an interesting segue into our first agenda item here. And that is Rion's write-up on how to start contributing to open source. And just for the context, we get a lot of, and this is it's kind of a nice problem to have, but it's still a problem that we have, where a lot of folks come into, let's say we put together a series of proposals for mentorships. People will come along and just say, hey, I'm interested. Hi, can we please guide me? I don't know how to help, right? And I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt, because there are people who are excited and are interested in joining our community, but it's hard to help people who come in with a one-liner like that because we don't have any context. And so Rion has written a great, here's how to start, here's how to look, and I hope that we can use this as a tool to not just say, hey, go here, but also as a way of starting a conversation with somebody who's maybe not realized that they're, because if you see a thing, it's like, oh, this is cool, I want to get into this. This is a way of saying, hey, read up on this a little bit, but come back and refine your question. And this is what I'm hoping we can use this as. So it looks like there's been a few responses. There's been a couple of folks who have already done a review on it. Rion, maybe I'd like to let you talk about this, and if you want more review, or if there's what you want for the next steps for this particular document.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Yeah, we had quite a bit of feedback from yourself, from Caroline, from Ali did a real thorough review. So I put in the last comment, Ali basically said that he thinks it's in a good space, let's not sit on it any longer and just get it out there. So I think I don't think there's any obvious flaws in it at the moment, and we got real nice additions that I didn't think of about install the project and start using it before trying to attribute to it and things like that. So it's really nice, rounded with a lot of community input. So if everyone is comfortable with it, I'm happy for it to merge. There is obviously always more work to be done. We left out Cloud Contributor. We don't have the roadmap yet. But as we do those, we should actually figure out a way of document review properly, where we go through the website at least annually and say, which are the things that we still want to review. So yeah, I'm happy for it to merge if everybody else is good for it to go.
I'm not actually sure that I'm capable of merging it. I don't think I'm a maintainer on the tag contributor strategy repo. But I'm glad that you mentioned the contributor question, because I actually asked the the internal community CNCF folk to take a look at it. And one of the questions that they had was they were confused why contributor was removed. And I said, that's a great question for the thread. Please put it on the thread. But given I don't think that they did bring it up here, I think that it's an interesting tool that has a place in that document. I'm happy for it to not be in there right now, but when if we merge this as is, so again, the roadmap, the contributor, I'd ask if when we merge it, that we would open up a couple more issues to say, hey, we want these as updates, just so that we don't lose some of the momentum and the thought that we've been sort of giving. I would almost even take what you cut and add that to the issue and say, this is what was cut out. Can we iterate on this? Can we continue on that? And then the other thing I'd like to ask you to do, because you did such a great job of writing this thing up, I would like to ask you to write a blog post for the CNCF blog. Probably, I don't know, 500 words, if that, sort of summarizing what has been written, that we can sort of use as, because right now we're going to be sort of putting this onto the website. I'd like to tout this work that you've done. I'd like to sort of make it so that more than just people who are seeing the contributor strategy website see it. And I think that probably the blog is a good place to do that. And then we can start like tweeting and doing like LinkedIn posts and stuff like that to make sure that people see it, see your work, and have like sort of a Cole's notes on it as well. And then hopefully people will just be able to start saying, hey, this is something, thank you for your interest. This is a great resource to start reading, taking a look at. So, but I'm happy to, I don't think I can merge it, but I can definitely approve. I think everybody can sort of do like, hey, I've reviewed this and I approve of this, just to sort of give a cue that it's ready to go in.
All right. Yeah, I think if you approve it, Caroline would be able to merge it, and then you can put that in. I made a note for the blog. Yes, I think it's a good way to market the information, and because on that specific point, I was actually laughing. Specifically, the thing that Ali was complaining about, or was it Alexandre last week, that said people do this one-line thing. And on the document where Ali is busy doing the Google Summer of Code document, somebody said, hey, I would like to participate. And in the typical one-liners, and I was very tempted to say, just go have a look over there, but it's not merged yet. And this is not the way you address this. So yeah, I think it's going to be a helpful resource for anybody that gets one of those one-liners. Kind of have it on your shortcut list and just drop and say, hey, go read this and get back to us.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also curious, Alexandra, because this was, I think, partly inspired by some of your work and questions around this topic. Is it in a spot where you're happy with it, or is there updates that you'd like to see that you haven't necessarily been able to put to writing it?
Yeah, I didn't have enough time to read the latest update on the pull request, but I'm actually taking a look right now. From what I'm seeing, what I'm seeing is that's great. That's an awesome job, and yeah, it's an important thing to have and use as a reference. So thank you for doing this, and I'll try and do a review later today. But it's for me, it's great job.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks. Okay, and then the other thing, I'll just make a note here as well. Need to put
the only thing that I maybe I missed that because I joined a little bit late, but is there like this is a good overview of everything related to getting started in open source and contributing and whatnot. Do we have any short version of this so we can share as like the starting point so people get interested and then go look? That'll come from the blog post, do you think, Nate?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping the blog post will be, and that's the term I used is Cole's Notes. I don't know if that's a worldwide, but here in Canada, if you've got a big thick book that you're reading in college or whatever, you can get the Cole's Notes version of it, which just like it condenses everything down to about 50 pages usually. So you can get the Cole's Notes version of like the whole Shakespeare or whatever. So I'm hoping that's what the blog post will be, is the Cole's Notes, or the short sort of pithy version of what the entire article is. Kind of like a poster, I guess. It's like, hey, this is cool. Go over here.
Yeah, that's weird because one of the things I'm worried about is that it's good if everyone reads everything from this, or at least try and read like the first first stuff. But I guess there are some people that are just gonna skip and just repeat.
I will write up the blog to be like a bit of a marketing piece, but I was concerned that it's getting way too long and too detailed. And then I thought about it. It gives all the detail that we don't have time to give to people. And if you want to really contribute and you're not willing to read through a document of that length, I'm not convinced you will run and contribute, because that is just the start of reading through documentation and getting to know information. So.
Yeah, and this is where I agree. And what I'm hoping this becomes is a conversation starter, because I think that the people who come in with the one-liner, hi, I'm interested, please guide me. This is the answer to the please guide me part, right? And if we suggest this, or even the blog post in some cases, it depends on the situation, I would suppose. That's what I'm hoping is that this document is something that is going to stoke people's interest more. I think that people should go away, read this, or parts of it even. I don't necessarily think that everybody's going to read the whole thing, but I think that there's going to be parts of it that are interesting to them, and then they're going to be able to come back and have more knowledge about how to ask questions, right? And it's a little bit of a training on how to be. It's in the title. It's how to start, right? And so I'm hoping that that's the way it gets used and how it's going to wind up being handled. So, and this isn't the end all be all of it as well. I think that this is the type of document that can evolve over time. So I think.
Sorry, go on.
No, go on, please.
Yeah, and I think it's a great starting point to even in the future have some type of course or some type of training docs that this can be used as like inspiration and the starting point of a more like complete thing. And yeah, that's great.
Caroline also suggested this might be the intro to a video series dealing with each of the topics separately, let's talk about getting community and how community work, or let's talk about how Git work and why we use it, and what's the short introduction videos that you can then hyperlink inside the document for deeper knowledge. So it can become a wiki of knowledge.
We could even use this for the mentoring stuff as well, like having this as.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that was it.
First, hello, Josh. How you doing? I don't mind saying this out loud as an idea. I think it's an interesting idea, and I don't want to sort of claim ownership of it. But I've been sort of toying with the idea in my head of starting a short YouTube series called Getting Started, where I would go through, or somebody could go through, what is it to get started with a project, let's say at CD, for instance. It's like, oh, what is the process of like downloading the repo, getting it started, finding good issues, like, and each sort of component as a like, hey, this is how you get started, right? And I think that this document is another type of way that you can sort of say, you're absolutely right, Rian, when you say this is something that we could say, and maybe this is like something for the ambassadors, I don't know. But I think you're onto something there. I think that's an interesting idea, and this could be a way to reach out and engage with folks. Actually, Josh, I think you might be a maintainer on tag contributor strategy. So I don't think I can merge. I can approve, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. So the question is Rian's start contributing to open source ready for merge at this point, or is there something that you'd still like to see done there, or what is? I'm actually not sure of the process for. I think you're muted.
For strategy.
Yep.
Sorry, say again.
Yeah,
Josh
I'll
asked
admit
me-
I
Go ahead.
haven't even looked at it because I was at events.
Fair enough.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow. So he got that done. That was fast.
He did the thing, yeah.
Yeah, really fast.
Okay. Let me just quickly glance over it just for copy editing purposes.
Okay. I've done a copy edit pass on it, but by all means, yes.
But it doesn't look like he's incorporated those changes yet.
Oh, that would be worth looking at to make sure.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of typographical fixes from you.
Yeah.
And they don't appear to have been incorporated yet.
Just point that out because I looked at all Nate's things and said add them in.
Okay.
You just
It should
point
just
those out.
show you incorporated some of them. You didn't incorporate all of them. Is what I'm
Alright.
seeing. And so okay. Yeah, you did a bunch of them. It's just there's a few left. And if you can either incorporate those or tell Nate that he's wrong and that was actually correct, that would be helpful.
I
I've been
agree
known
with
to be
all the
wrong.
things Nate dropped in, so I'll just go through that quickly.
Okay, cool. Thanks. And then we can merge it.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so unless there's anything else anybody wants to discuss on that, I think probably time to move on to the next agenda item. Okay, so the next item is Google Season of Docs. I set a due date for proposals for today, even though the deadline for org application is, I think, the 20th or the 24th. I think it's the 20th. I'd have to
24th
24th for
Yeah,
summer.
on the calendar.
Thank you. And so that gives us a couple of days to do some reviews. I still need to get back to Bill on his question about whether or not we can both accept. So Bill's question was about the projects applying on their own, even though that we're applying as an org. I don't have the answer for that yet. I really need to get that to him. I feel like I've dropped the ball on that one. But again, going back to my not feeling particularly well today, I would love some help reviewing the proposals that have come in today. I don't think that we need to get them reviewed today, but we do need to get them reviewed in the next couple of days here. So I'm hoping that my capacity to think again will increase by tomorrow. But I don't even think I want to take a look at it in the state I'm in right now. So, oh yeah, and I've got the note. I actually wrote that note. Applications are due on the 24th. So that's next Friday. So that still gives us some time. And it gives us the opportunity to ask for updates and edits for Google Summer season of docs. Is there any questions about that process as of right now? Can I ask for a volunteer to?
Are those the only ones that?
Those are the only two that we've got so far.
Okay.
I am expecting probably one more, maybe, but again, it's one of those things with the rumors that Google may be pulling back. It's not something that I've been pushing super heavily, but I do want to give people who have done PRs the respect of giving it a thorough review. So if you have time, Alexandra, I would very much appreciate you taking a look.
Yep, I'll try and do that. And I can guarantee, but I'll
of course.
try and do that.
I appreciate that. Anything else on season of docs? Okay, moving on to season of code. I can never get these ones right. Why did they name them like this? Summer of code. Our next important date is March 20th. And that's when contributors are going to start submitting their proposals through the website for the mentors to give feedback on. I've been working with Ali, making sure that the mentors are in the system so that they can see everything that's coming in. I'll make sure that it is up to date. That's actually some fairly easy work. I can probably, I think everyone's in the system and most everyone has been added to the 2023 program. It's unfortunate that it's a two-step process, but it is what it is. And so I think we're in a good place for mentors to start reviewing the contributor proposals once the 20th hits. Another good piece of writing that I would love another set of eyes on, Ali, based on a very old issue that Chris actually opened, has written up a Google Summer of Code org administrator guide, focusing on the CNCF and what our role is. I've taken a quick look through it, but if it's still open, I'll probably I'm considering merging that probably the end of the week, so there's still time to do some review on there. But again, it was sort of a hole in our documentation, and that's actually going into the V2 piece. So that's actually something maybe Rion, you'd be interested in taking a look at as a review piece if you have time. I don't want to volunteer you for it, but if you have a moment, I think it would be of interest to you. Any questions or comments about Google Summer of Code? No. Okay. Moving on. We're hitting a couple of agenda items that I didn't write up. So whoever added simple coder templates, would you like to speak to it?
I would. I would like to share my screen if that's okay. Is that something I can do just by clicking on a button somewhere, or?
You're on mute, Nate.
Just a sec. I'm preparing a desktop screen so we can kind of have all these things in one spot.
Nate, you're muted.
Sorry. I think Josh, you're officially the host on this one, but I think it should just be a button for you, Nippy.
Let me see. if
Yeah, I
can-
didn't actually log in as host, so I need to look up the number.
Let's see what happens when I click on the things and click on the things. Can you see my things when I click
Oh,
on
there
them?
you go. Yep, I
Yeah,
can
it's
see it.
there.
Excellent.
That's it. I like to make it easy. I mean, so
Yeah, we tried to set this up so that we don't necessarily have to remember to log in as host.
that's the winner. Let's do that more often. Under simple coder templates, I've got a few things. I'm just going to load a page up. We do a lot of our, so the short story is in mentoring, we're trying to have a culture of collaboration or co-op mode from the beginning. A lot of stuff is single player mode, which is hard. And we're trying to find a way where people can start from virtually nothing and go through, I think instead of Rion's note, how do you get through the process of installing the software enough to contribute to it? And in looking at the coder software and its ability to create binaries that include the templates necessary to bring up software, both on your local computer and the cloud, I wanted to demonstrate some of that with today so that concepts can kind of be there. We are writing things in org files right now, and I'll show you why that's interesting. This is the org file I just linked to. This is the README inside of Simple. And I already have Coder installed. Let me make sure this, I'll make sure, oops, I hit the button. Don't hit the button. Make sure this is big enough. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
And then over here is a little terminal window. And without going too much into it, it's running some software called Teammate, which will eventually replace something else. But when I hit enter inside my cursor on line 8, it will, based on line 7, create a window called server and run code server. So I'm going to do that. And so you'll see that server got created and it's actually running coder server. What's kind of fun about this is that as coder server is coming up, it's embedded inside of it. It's got Postgres. So it starts a PostgreSQL on your Mac, Windows, or Linux box and initializes it, and then creates a WireGuard tunnel out to Pittsburgh to give you your own HTTPS fully working ingress to the coder website running inside this single binary. That's a mouthful. For anybody can download a program and run a website that can create anything we can come up with together. Not yet single, it's still single player mode. So let's keep going along. We could add some stuff to trace it before we run that, but we're not going to. In this block, we're going to create our first user, and you just set all these variables. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to, we've got a login. So if we clicked onto that, we could log in. I'm not going to do it yet because I'm trying to quickly walk through the demo. We could also add other users, and now there's hh.ii.nz has been added. I know I'm in the right folder, so rather than going through checking out the template, I'm just going to create it. And that template is the simple one that we're linked to. There's a single file there, a Terraform file that we'll look at in a minute. As that's getting created, it's actually installing all the underlying things necessary for that template to be created. And then this last step is to create a workspace. And that takes a template and makes it's not yet shared, but that's my intention, is that we have a shared environment for working with someone to help them. In this case, the super simplest template doesn't even use any virtualization technology or anything. It is a shell on my MacBook that you can get to via the web and work with someone else to help you get started. And we just downloaded one program. I didn't have to use all these commands. I could have clicked through a GUI to get here. Yeah, I love Ed and folks over there. Great community team. There is a second template that does this for Packet, because the the community, CNCF community can apply to get a token from Packet to do this. But I wanted to make sure that we could do it easily. While I won't do this all for us all to log into my laptop right now, I'm just kind of showing that it works. You can also SSH into it. So this code, it's line 51 and 52, configures my SSH to log in via Coder. And even though this may look like I'm just on my box again, I'm actually in a bash shell and the prompt looks different. So I'm still in the same shell, but I'm in a different folder. And then the last one is, I haven't opened a browser yet. I just ran commands in a terminal. And if I launch this one, we can log in with one of our so my email was hh@ia.nz and II coder password. Is that what we set it at? Nope. Let's go see what we set it at. Anybody remember? II password coder. There you go. Back to the web browser. II password coder. And if we look, we have the templates that are here that we just created, but we haven't used it yet. So if I go back over here to our workspaces, I'm not logged in as the person with the workspace. Just a second, log back out. Because you can, I don't yet have shared yet, and shared's what we're really shooting for. So the other one is coder at ia.coop, and then it's II password coder. And not now, but now if we go over to workspaces, that workspace that we set up is here. And if you were to take that secret URL and put in the username and password that is shared with everybody on the channel, you would have this. Is this version, or is this not actually up? And in here, I think it runs into temp and creates one called coder II, and we called it workspace 1. There's actually a coder agent init that is here. Let me just run it real quick. All right, and there's the tailnet and all that coming up. So if I refresh that, of course it's demo and it's not going to do the thing this morning. It's not working, but but for sake of time, let's back out of the deep dive. There's another one for Packet, and another one for an Emacs pod. And what's fun about the other ones is, in the end, you have a URL that you can share with somebody via Slack, that when they click on it, you can code together. And what I want to do is help people, all of our CNCF projects have an example template for people to click on. Even if they don't get to do it with someone else, they're instantly up and running with the project, either on their computer or on a computer that we rent for them. We're going to do this technology here in Tauranga on March 31st. That's 2-3 Fridays from now. And rather than doing anything technical, they're all going to have their own website that has, what is it called? What's the software? The block software? Minecraft. So Minecraft and the editor to change it and the stuff from the DevOps for Kids, including like having a click to create Scratch and a click to create Res, what's it called? Pi. It's like a Sonic Pi. The reason we're doing that is we'd like to share with the Dutch community there via little.org this environment that's the templates for these workshops for the EU Kids Day, KubeCon EU Kids Day on the 15th. And we got a couple of project boards we're working on for workshop.coop to do that. And there's a little HackMD with some of the people that are collaborating on that. If you're interested in creating co-op mode by default in our cloud native culture, reach out and take a look at these simple packets. This is just the base part of what we're trying to bring forward for helping create a culture of cooperation and not just cloud native, but like globally.
That's so amazing.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, that looks like a ton of fun. That reminds me a little bit of what oh no, I can't remember his name. Why can't I? Bobby McBob's. What's
Caleb.
Caleb,
This is
thank you so much.
all of this is influenced heavily by Caleb's work.
Yeah, this
And
looks very
it's a generational step forward of that, where it doesn't need any particular infrastructure set up.
yeah,
And what's
that's really
beautiful on a personal, very personal level is
Yeah.
I've been trying to find a way to bootstrap what happened in the United States in the 1950s and 60s with the public broadcast stations.
Mhm.
And that's when Fred Rogers didn't have enough money to keep his broadcast station on the air, but people loved his program. And so they donated money to the Pittsburgh television station, and that became the first public broadcast station. And
Huh.
today, the community, the coder group company, they're open sourcing their WireGuard tunnel implementation. Because if you run Coder right now, it's in pit1-try coder.app, Pittsburgh. So today, I'm hoping, or tomorrow, it will shift from being closed sourced in Pittsburgh to open source in Pittsburgh. And then we're going to have a custom binary that when you run it for our community, it's here in Tauranga, which is on our ASN, which is 1 or 2 hops away, 8 to 10 millisecond latency from our university and the schools. And so it will be local infrastructure for cooperating by default. And so
That's cool.
we're not going to be doing this by ourselves anymore.
Very, very cool. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Hippie on this?
No, that just that it's awesome. I did some work around dev environments and whatnot a few years ago using Terraform and packets spot pricing so that we could have like disposable dev machines and whatnot. And that reminded me a lot of about the work that I did. It's awesome. It's great. So where can I go if I want to learn more or get more involved in this? Where's the like?
It's just getting like this is the culture that we have inside of I'm trying to get back to our Zoom meeting. This is the culture we have inside of II is we pair a lot. So we just spend time together working on things. And we capture that in the form of storytelling files called org files. All of that is way beyond what everybody could currently get to. So what we're trying to do is have this, the simplest version is go try out simple and play with it. And when you get it working, you can invite me by just creating a user and telling me your URL and let me log in. And then I can pair with you remotely because I'll be sitting on your computer and I'll help you set up. And if you don't want to use your computer, then use the simple packet one and invite me to your computer in the cloud. And there's no, like, it's so simple at this point. There's no tmux, there's no development software. It's just a web-based shared terminal.
That's great. That's great.
So create one and send me a Slack message and say, Hippie, come hang out. I'm like, absolutely. What if we start recording these as a default? And all of a sudden, every time somebody does something, it streams it to YouTube on the, here's 2 people hanging out doing a thing. Come paint happy clouds and trees with me in the Bob Ross version of the broadcast station, and come cook with Julia Child as she figures out her thing, and come read some books with our reading rainbow, and come hang out in my neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor?
Yeah, awesome.
So just looking at time, we've got a couple minutes left and a couple more things on our list here. Just a quick KubeCon update. Chris on the CNCF side asked if I could do KubeCon mentoring office hours. And so I've got, I'm working with the events team to get a couple of hours scheduled. Anyone is welcome to come by if you have questions. I may reach out to some of you, see if you want to. It would be more interesting the more of us that are there. But Hippie,
Nate, guess
yes,
what?
I might know the
Jay
answer. Yeah,
got accepted
I heard
to the Dan Kahn's diversity scholarship, and he's going to
So
fly
excited.
with me. He's the one leading the kids Tauranga Day here, so we can practice to do the Kids Day there so that we can actually talk about mentoring children.
That's awesome.
We're
I'm gonna have
all-
to make sure. I'm gonna have to make sure that this doesn't overlap with that because
Oh, it's
I-
Sunday. Sunday.
it's on
before.
Sunday. Oh, even better.
Done.
I'm actually going to be there. I think from Friday. So
You should
I
just
might-
hang out. I'm getting there
Yeah.
Friday as well because I've got to recover from getting
exactly
football.
the jet lag is a thing. So anyone is welcome to join me. I'll try and get the dates and whatnot sorted sooner than later. I've also got same thing going for the tech docs. So there will also be tech docs office hours for a couple of hours at some point. But yeah, so that's a thing that is going to be happening. So happy to have participation or again, or not if you've got other things. I know that folks are super busy around KubeCon time. So, and then lastly, V2 review stuff. So Rian mentioned this a little bit earlier. And I know that we've got, I probably should do an update and merge main into the V2 just to bring it up to date, but it's fairly close. We had discussed reviewing it a couple of weeks ago, but then thought, okay, folks are going to be busy. One of the things I'd like to do is it's currently in draft. And so I'd like to, again, do the main merge into V2, bring it up to date, and then take it off of draft to sort of signal to folks that, okay, this is worth reading and spending time to do a review. It's a big, giant change, as Rian knows, and Jay and Rian have really been spearheading it. So is there anything you'd like to say about it before we close out here, Rian?
No, I think we're pretty close to get it to the point where we can merge it. I would just like to collaborate with Jay. As I said, the last 2 weeks we couldn't get a minute together. So if we just speak about it and get to the point, because I think we just need to clean up a few directories and merge it in. There will be empty documents, and then we start populating from there. So no, we just clean up, and then we could properly merge. It's a hard thing to review. So I think, and as we go on, is getting harder and harder. So the sooner we merge, I think it will, and then
It's there.
continue with smaller PRs to update after this. Make it
To that-
on everyone.
To that point, and taking a page from Hippie's book, maybe, should we schedule like a walkthrough of all the changes? Get some of the folks that we are interested in having, whose opinion oh my God, I can't speak. Is it worthwhile to get a bunch of folks whose opinion we're interested in having and walk through these changes so that it's an easier review process? It's like, okay, here's what our plan was. Here's the actual changes. We know it's a big lift. Is that something that is maybe worth doing, or what are your thoughts? You're muted.
I might suggest sitting around the table at KubeCon. That review might be able to be done in an hour.
Okay, I'd like to do it before KubeCon, but that's also hard. So maybe, what are your thoughts on timing for this, Josh? Is that something that you'd be interested in, or?
Oh, sorry, I was looking at Rian's PR. Timing for which?
Oh, in terms of getting V2, the mentoring repo version 2 to land. We're thinking it's close, but it's a big it's a big review lift, and we're talking about maybe doing like a walkthrough, just sort of, hey, here's what we were planning, here's what the changes are, to help folks understand what we're trying to do. Because I think that without the context, it's a big set of changes. So I'm wondering how best to review that.
Okay, there's a PR already open? Or not?
Yeah, and the mentoring one is the big. It's the bring it up here. It is PR number 733.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
without-
right, yeah. I looked at this when you put it in and it said, do not merge until V2 approved. So I actually haven't touched it.
Yeah, but now you're one of the people whose opinion we are curious for in order to approve it. So,
Okay.
so maybe I should remove the do not merge, but like, and currently it's a draft. This is what I'm saying is I think that what I'd like to suggest doing is I'll bring it up to date with Maine, get all those changes, take the draft off, like say, okay, it's ready for review, and then schedule potentially like a walkthrough, because I mean, 80 files is a lot of files.
Yeah.
Maybe we could, because we've got our next meeting is, I think, on, I want to say the 28th. Maybe we use our next meeting as a walkthrough of this.
Yeah. I mean, one of my concerns about this sort of long term, not that you shouldn't rearrange the mentoring repo, is that ultimately it would be nice to have all this content, as we've discussed, land somewhere
Mhm.
on contribute.cncf.io as well.
Absolutely. But I think this is step one of that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But we wanted to get it in a spot
Hmm.
where we could do that work. And I think we've done this in a way that we should be able to pick it up and almost drag and drop it, to be honest.
Oh, I wish submodules worked with GitHub pages. But
Oh,
no.
wouldn't that be nice? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yet more review here. Let me drop the.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at it in the form of the just looking at the branch.
Yeah, that's
Because
probably the best.
The
part.
changes are dramatic enough that if I look at them as individual changes, I can't honestly
Yeah,
tell what's going on.
Yeah, and that's part of the yeah. It's I tried to model this process after how we do the releases over on the Kubernetes website, but it's about the same number of changes, but it's yeah, one of those things. So, all right, looking at time, we're just coming up. Is there anything in this last minute or two or three that anyone would like to bring up?
That's about it. One thing I'll mention, Ariana, I also need to tag our TOC liaisons. We don't necessarily need to wait for their approval, but I owe it to them to actually alert them that it's in process.
For which? The getting started, or
Tag
the,
our CNCF liaisons, our TOC liaisons for the tag. And
For-
anytime we're publishing something to the public site, we
Okay.
tag them on it just in case they have opinions about it.
Oh, I see. So for his getting started guide, you mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So that'll how long do we want to leave that open for comment? Just a few days or a week or?
A day or two, really.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for your time. It was very much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Have a good one. Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
See you, Nate.
See you later.